Hi everyone, I'm Melissa, half of the Tassie Stitches, and welcome to our FlossTube channel. Today is the 8th of February 2026. If you're new here, thanks for checking us out, and if you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. So this week we're going to talk about what I've achieved in my stitching in the last week and look at what temperatures we've got coming up for next week. And also we'll draw the Deck of Whips for the Down Under Divas Deck of Whips challenge that's going on this year. So let's start off with what I stitched for temperature stitching for last week. So first up is Band of Braves. This was allocated to the number 6 and was new for this number. We didn't have a 6 in January. So this is Band of Braves. It's by Long Dog Samplers. I'm stitching this on a 32 count even weave in the colourway galvanised bucket that I dyed myself. And this is where we got to. So the 100 stitches was really just colouring in some of the section up there in that circle type band. Didn't get much, only 101 stitches. So that was Band of Braves. I'll put that down there. Next up was Art Deco Cafe. So this is assigned to the number 1, and this had 2 temperatures come up in the last week. And just because I didn't mention it, I stitch all my projects in the call for DMC unless I tell you otherwise. And obviously temperature stitching I'm doing based on Jen the Caffeinated Crafters version, which is taken Siski Stitches version and allocated a whip to the numbers 0 through 9, and then you take the last digit of that particular temperature to work out what you're going to stitch on. So this is Art Deco Cafe, so this is assigned to the number 1. This is a pattern by Box and Fox, and you can find them on Etsy. I'm stitching this on a piece of random Zweigart fabric. It's behind. So I picked up at my LNS on the scrap table, and I'm not 100% sure what colourway it is. But this is Art Deco Cafe. It got 200 stitches, and I did them all in the black down here. And this is 25 count, 1/1. Next up for the number 4 is Nature's King. So this was part of their Hate Sale last year, and the artwork is by Carol Cavalaris. This again only got 101 stitches because it was only called once, and they were just up here. I'm just to get my 6 pages of progress for last year. I just did the 6 pages. So now I'm going down the edge here and filling in the partial block before I move on to the next lot of full blocks. So that got 100. Next up for the number 3 is Northern Lights. So this is one of the Kerrilyn Manning Designs patchwork type patterns. She's got quite a few different collections. This one is the Shooting Star collection. I love all of these. It was very hard to choose which one to do, but green is my favourite colour, so it's not surprising that this one got picked. But this is Northern Lights. This is on 28 count, and I'll use this again. 28 count, 1/1. Got 103 stitches, and really I was just filling in the blue colour here. So that's Northern Lights. And the last temperature that I had for last week was number 3. And the number 3, the number 2. Number 2 is Sampler Patchwork Squares. This is by Nara X Stitch on Etsy. She's got quite a few tile patterns similar to this. So if you like tile patterns, she might be someone that you would like to go and check out. This is also being stitched on a 28 count, 1/1. And just filled in there. So this one had 2 temperatures for last week, so this got 203 stitches. So filling in up here and bringing those 2 bands out, and then down here and filling that band across. Sorry about the light, it's really terrible this afternoon. We just don't seem to be having much summer at all down here in Tassie at the moment. So that was temperature stitching for last week. So as we've discussed before, I also have birthday stitching. So the birthday stitching that I completed last week was for my husband's piece. So his piece is Enterprise, or Starship Enterprise, I should say. This is by the Cross Stitch Collection. So this is, I should remember the name. I can't think of it. He's a well-known cross-stitch blogger. I'm sure I'll think of it. This is on 32 count Squigart Belfast. And I'm doing this 2/2. And this got 100 stitches like it does for always for birthdays, and I filled in this orange section over here. I just couldn't face doing any more backstitch on this, so I found another patch of cross stitch that needed to be done. So that's done for the month. You won't see that again until the 5th of next month, unless it gets called in Deck of Whips, you never know. So then moving on. So this, although we've only had a week so far of February, I have actually already met 2 of my February goals on 2 of my pieces. So the first piece up is North Pole. So this was used for the Down Under Divas monthly challenges for Sears for Christmas, and this got 500 stitches. And this is I should show the picture first. This is a piece by Kathy Barrick, and this is being stitched on 40 count in the colourway Donkey that I dyed myself. And this is where we're now at. So the 500 stitches did a bit more red in the bottom of his coat, and then up here did his beard and some of the trim on the inside of his coat there. Oh, and the white section of his hat too. So that's North Pole. And that got exactly 500 stitches. The next goal that I met was, I'm just putting these away because otherwise they'll get all mixed up. The next goal that I met was for something that I dream about. So for Down Under Divas, for 500 stitches, or something that's a dream to stitch. So this actually falls into both categories. This reminds me of our last little white rescue dog that we had, Rosie. So that's why, and she's still part of my dreams. And it's actually a really nice piece to stitch on. So qualifies in both ways. This got 500 stitches as well, or 505 to be exact. And I'm still up in the top corner. This was a new start on Christmas Day, so we haven't got very far. But there's 3 or 4 colours in there. 2 main colours, and then there's kind of a purpley red patch that you can't quite see. And this is a 28 count 1/1. I'm sorry if you can hear my son screaming in the background, but he's playing games with his friends. So they were the 2 projects that have met their goals for the month, so they won't come out again until they meet another one of the Down Under Diva challenges, or until they get called for Whip Go. Not Whip Go, or Whip Go is possible, but also Deck of Whips. So it's good to have 2 prompts, 2 challenges, 2 whips out of the way already. Next up is Dinosaur Circle, or what I call Dinosaur Circle. This is a piece by Oh My Stitches on Etsy. As I mentioned before, I've got 10 of these to do. This is the third one that I'm working on. And so therefore I've got 7 more to go. I'm stitching these for my son. They were his choice. This was my Deck of Whips pull for last week. And also this had a goal this month of 2,000 stitches. Getting both of those in is going to be hard. But anyway, we did Deck of Whips. So this one actually got 401 stitches, 300 for Deck of Whips, and just 100 towards its 2,000 stitch goal for the month. So basically I filled in most of this black stitching up in there. If this doesn't quite meet, or if I don't quite have enough stitches, because all I've got left is this white section up here and then filling in these sections down here. So if this doesn't quite meet its 2,000 stitch goal, then I will move on to my penalty project for the month, which is the Spring Garden Band sampler. You'll see that a bit later on. So this is Dinosaur from Oh My Stitches, and this is being stitched on 22 count, 1/1. And I'm stitching all of those on 22 count, 1/1. Next up is what I call Japanese crane, but its real name is crane panel number 2. This is from Whoopie Cat on Etsy. I am stitching this as a full coverage, so I am stitching all of the white background as well. This so far has received 1,103 stitches, and basically I'm just filling in down from the top. There is a bit of white stitching left down the bottom from some challenges this got pulled out for last month for white stitches. But at the moment I'm just filling in, it's my son, filling in the gaps. So this has another 900 stitches to go, and they'll get done today and tomorrow because I'm using this for the Feisty Focus for Whip Warriors as well. And then that'll be it. It'll be done for the month because this has a 2,000 stitch goal for the month. You can go, please. Sorry. And last up, the last piece that I stitched on for the week was 13th Colony Bay. This is a piece by the Bay Needle Arts. And this was meeting the challenge for a designer that starts with C or D. So the designer behind By the Bay is Donna Bayliss. This has only got 100 stitches so far this month. It's got a goal of 1,000. And it was really just one row of water, because that's about 60 stitches, filling in the rest of this cottage and then doing up the roof on that cottage. And this is being stitched on a 32 count Perman linen, I think in the colourway French Rain. I'm sure Kerrilyn will tell me if I'm getting that wrong at some point. But yeah, so that's 13th Colony Bay. Quite a big piece. It's 3 patterns all joined together. And I've completed 1 out of the 3, and that's the second one I'm working on. So that was all the stitching that I got done in the last week. That was actually around 30 or just over 3,600 stitches. I needed to get an extra 100 stitches in this month on some day just to fit everything in. So I've achieved that. So I'm on track for the rest of the month. So next up, let's look at what I will be stitching on for temperature stitching in the coming week starting today. So the temperatures, or the forecast temperatures for the upcoming 7 days are 21, 21, 25, 27, 18, 21 and 23. So that means that Art Deco Cafe, which I have shown you already, which is this one by Box and Fox on Etsy. This one will be getting 300 stitches in the coming week. So this is just a reminder of where we're at. I do prefer to stitch this in the typewriter method, moving across the rows, but it only has a few colours and they're quite easy to jump around to, so it does get used for a lot of colour stitching if I'm doing colour stitching. So just depends what comes up in the challenges this week as to what actually gets stitched on this. So that'll get 300 stitches. So the next one then was Spring Garden Band Sampler. So this, as I mentioned earlier, is the sale this year from Stitching Cabin. I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count, 1/1. It does call for a Krynic, but when I get to the gold stitches, I'll be using a Petite Treasure braid. This is where we are starting from. That is most of the January band, just missing the stems on the flowers, but we will jump straight down into the February band for this month, which is the gumboots. So this will only get 100 stitches in the coming week. It's not going to get a lot of stitching on it this month, I don't think, but every stitch counts. The next one is 27, so that is Northern Lights. So we did see that one previously as well. Again, this is the Kerrilyn Manning Designs one. And I did forget to show you a project, and I do apologise. I'll pull that out in a second. So again, this is Northern Lights. This is where we're starting from, and this is going to get 100 stitches. Then for the number 8, we have my not so happy place, which is baskets. This is by Rosewood Manor, and this is being stitched in the called for Valdani threads as they come off the spool. This is where we're at. This is stitched on a 32 count. Yep, 32 count even weave in the colourway Donkey that I've dyed myself, and this is, I'm now just basically filling in where I've missed spaces. So this will get another 100 stitches. I'm hoping there's not too much more to go on this one. At the moment I'm just filling in some of the stitches on this bird, but most likely I'll go up and work in this section, which is another couple of baskets up there which I seem to have missed. That's baskets. And then the last one for next week is Summer Montage. This is a pattern from Pain Free Crafts. The artwork is Janet Stever, and unfortunately this has been discontinued. I believe Pain Free Crafts has discontinued all of Janet's work. You may still be able to find this piece in a Janlin kit, but it's not a full coverage kit. This is being stitched on 25 count Easy Guide or Easy Grid. I never know what they're called. And it's just going to get another 100 stitches. So this coming week of temperatures is going to bring Art Deco Cafe and Summer Montage up to 900 stitches. So we'll need to make some decisions about those possibly next week. So I did miss one whip. So this piece is Rubber Ducky Dragon. This is another piece from Pain Free Crafts with artwork by Stanley Morrison. I'm stitching this one on a 25 count in the diagonal, one stitch at a time, moving across the row. It's the only piece I'm stitching like this. It's the only piece I'm going to stitch like this. So I just started the new row. I had probably about 30 or 40 stitches left to finish the last diagonal, and I decided just to scroll up to the top and start at the top, and I'll fill them in when I get to the bottom. So this has another 300 stitches to go on it. So this is being used for D is for dog, or another animal that starts with D. So I think dragon classifies for that. And that's 1/1 full cross. So that now is all my stitching. So that only leaves us with Deck of Whips. So I'll give these a shuffle, and then we will draw our next Deck of Whips piece. I hope for everybody who's actually playing along with Deck of Whips that you're enjoying this. If you did want to jump in at any point, you can. I can always give you a list of the cards that have already been drawn. So I'll just pull up my list. So the next card for Deck of Whips is 9 of Clubs. At least it's not another spade. So for me, 9 of Clubs is, beautiful day. So that's good. I really like stitching on that piece. Means I don't have to pause and go and grab it. So this is the piece in question, beautiful day. And for me, Deck of Whips is always 300 stitches. And just as a reminder, this is our starting point. Or my starting point, I should say. So this will get another 300 stitches in the upcoming week. So that's everything I've got to show you this week. Thank you very much for coming along. If you've liked what you've seen, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to keep seeing what I've got to show you, keep seeing the progress on my whips, maybe think about subscribing. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.